Wake up, RipCity. Your Blazers have won 3 in a row, 8 of the last 10. In 2026, the Blazers are 8-2. They're playing the basketball that we expected them to play when the season began. And we're nothing but smiles here at Wake Up RipCity. They go 2-0 over the weekend. I was kind of hoping for a split, Gliss, but they take both. Beat the Lakers at home, beat the Kings on the road in the back-to-back. And man, we've got a lot of fun stuff to talk about here on the show. Again, this is Wake Up RipCity. We start off every show with a positive, so we'll start there. Gliss, like I said, a lot of wins are coming in. I almost don't even know how to talk about it because we were so used to talking about injuries and tough losses, but we can't. Those were crutches of our shows past. Now we gotta flip the switch and talk about wins. So Gliss, let's quickly. I don't even know if we necessarily need to talk about a specific positive, but so many positives in 2026 for Blazers fans.
Yeah, I got one. It's that magic number of 500. They got to 500, and that's right where the Blazers want to be. So yeah, and I will note, we're talking about how much we've had to talk about injuries and stuff like that. They did have some key guys, sit on back-to-back, and they still went out and took care of business. So just so many good things about that game. One of them notably being, and we've talked about this a couple other times in the last few weeks, just the fact that these are games that they were losing early in the season. And they're starting to put teams away, and it seems like their confidence is building in learning how to win. And that's a beautiful thing because Donovan Clingan, was it 21 points, 17 rebounds? I mean, he's been solid lately. He's turning into, one of the better kind of enforcers in the NBA. I think you look at his rebounding, he's right up there. Just the way he affects shots at the rim. And of course, Deni comes back and in only 32 minutes basically puts up a triple-double almost. Shaden Sharp did his thing. So it's just a lot of fun to see the growth of this team because it does feel like they're just these kind of games were games that were kind of toss-ups about a month ago, or games that they found ways to lose. And right now it seems like that's trending in the other direction where they're starting to understand how to be one of those teams that can, put teams away, especially teams that, they probably should be, even though it's a tough road game in the Western Conference.
Yeah, there was moments through the game last night, Gliss, where the Kings started to go on a little bit of a run in the fourth quarter and started to make things interesting. But I just had that feeling. I was like, they're fine. And like maybe I shouldn't have had that. And I even when I was like thinking about that, like I was like, oh God, the King, like the Blazers and the Kings this season have had very close, intense games. And I was thinking, it's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. But there was just something different about the confidence level of this team. And we have spoken about that too. Just the simple inbounding the ball, the simple hitting free throws when they matter. They weren't an issue so much last night, right? And it just makes all the difference in the world. And even though Jrue Holiday and Jerami Grant are sitting, it's a mindset that this team has now in these games where, like, even we look back at the Atlanta game. Like, it's like that game felt like a game that the Blazers would have let slip, a month ago. And now they're winning it, 16 points. And this game against the Kings, it could have easily been a game that they let slip as well, but they don't. And I think you touched on some great stuff. I mean, just a couple different things. Blazers win, first of all, 117-110. Like you said, they're 500, 22-22. Their over-under for the year, which we talked about in the first episode of this podcast, was, I think, 34.5. And, man, if you bet the over, which we should have, Gliss. We should have, man.
Damn it.
We should have put our rent on it.
I don't know why I didn't.
You're looking damn good right now. Deni comes back last night. And what is gotten into that guy, man? he has the audacity to look exactly the same as he did before the injury. I was like, what is going on with this guy? How could he just come back on the court and look exactly the same? It was absurd. It's like, Deni, at least, you gotta ease yourself in. Nope. He's attacking the rim. He's the leader out there on the court. There's just no question about him. He finishes with 38 and 8. You touched on Donovan Clingan. Wow, the growth of this guy. I mean, I can't believe like how tough he is in the paint is awesome. Yeah, there's still some issues with kind of, finishing and stuff like that, but it doesn't even really matter just with how hard he plays and all the offensive rebounds and creating extra possessions. And it's just been fantastic to watch him grow. This guy's a second year player. I mean, he doesn't seem like it at all.
Crazy.
At all. Just amazing out there. Just fantastic. Deni and Shai are kind of becoming a 1-2 combo. I think that's something that I've been thinking about a lot, and I haven't really talked about it. But in this game last night, it really became apparent. I love when they kind of get in this flow of switching off possessions, and you see them both at the top of the key, kind of figuring out what's going to be best. And if one of them tries to attack the rim or tries to make something happen on the possession, it doesn't work out, flips it to the other one. The other one does the same thing. Shai was awesome last night, finding his spots, really effective as a scorer. He's still so young, which is crazy to think about. I think some of those, you look at some of his stats and his true shooting percentage and things like that aren't very high. And, for someone who's scoring 20 plus points a game, you would want that to be a little bit higher, but that will come with his growth. And if he's scoring like this and he steps away from those long twos and goes after threes and attacking the rim as his sole, kind of body of work for scoring, we will see a huge growth from this guy coming up. And I mean, he was awesome. He had 27 points last night, and at times it seemed like, okay, he was. I don't remember exactly what he was from the field, maybe 8 for 19 or something like that. But we'd love to see him, in that 50% range, especially with his ability to attack the rim. So I love that. I love that 1-2 punch too. Toumani kind of gets lost in all this. Didn't miss a shot last night. Went 7 for 7. It kind of gets lost in everything. I mean, he's returned to the form of Toumani Camara of last year. Absolutely. I know we've had some moments this year where we're a little frustrated with him, but I think it's important to keep in mind kind of what he's been going through this season and how much more effective he is when there's creators on the court, and allow him to do his thing. And then on the defensive side of the ball, of course, he doesn't get a break in any NBA game because he's taking on the best player on every team, and so he's just fun to watch. So, I mean, I have a long list. I could probably keep going. It was awesome. I was just taking notes last night. I was like, oh, here's another thing. Oh, here's another thing. But one more thing I'll touch on that I think was really effective last night, and I saw this on the post game thread on our RipCity. My guy Piano, he posts the best post game threads. He posts a little all of his notes on there about what happened from the game, and he pointed this out. Tiago Splitter's coaching decisions have really improved in the lineups. So what he pointed out last night was, obviously the Kings had Sabonis coming in off the bench last night. And so Tiago Splitter makes a great call. He takes out Clingan early in the first quarter, gets Yang Hansen in there early because obviously Robert Williams missing time yesterday. So that way Clingan can come back in later and battle Sabonis when he comes in. It's just little things like that in his lineup choices that are crazy. There was a 5-man lineup last night, man, that should not have got it done, but it did. I can't remember exactly who it was, but it was a bunch of G League players. It was Caleb Love. It was CD Sissoko. And it was 5 guys out there who just got it done, who just kept fighting. And it's just like stuff like that's starting to happen where it's like, wow, it's like this team is in that mode that they were in last season where it just didn't seem like they were going to drop games like this. It's like they're going to go out there and they're going to get it done no matter what it is. So that's where we're at, Gliss. And man, I'm excited. It's just fun to watch. And I think you had a great point earlier, I think right before our last podcast of 2025, when you said, hey, let's just enjoy the ride. This team is in all these games and let's just enjoy the ride. And like you might have even been underselling it a little bit with how much they're winning, but you were exactly right. It's like the way they're playing, they're in every game, and just enjoy it. And now we're kind of getting the benefits of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you give yourself a chance to go out and win every night, and good things can happen. And you pointed out the maturity of Thiago Splitter. I mean, it's been across the board. It's just little things like every player that gets an opportunity, whether it's CD Sissoko or Caleb Love, and the coaching staff as well, as they've had more time to kind of adjust to having to take over a team in the way that they did under such unfortunate circumstances. It's just been like across, like from the coaching staff to the last guy on the bench, and almost every guy on this team has had to play minutes at some point. So I mean, it's just been so much fun to watch, and that's why I said that when we got to the new year, is just because like the way they were competing, things weren't necessarily going their way every single night, but they were competing, and you can see kind of see what's building. And right now, they just seem locked in, and everybody seems to be understanding their role a little bit more. Obviously, it helps a lot to have guys like Caleb Love come on the way he's come on in the last month. He didn't have a great game last night, but that's fine. I mean, you're not going to have a great game every single night. But every single person, whether it's the coaching staff or the players, when given their opportunities, has really kind of stepped up and has shown growth and maturity. And like you said, we're seeing the benefits of that now as Blazer fans, because we get to watch a fun product every night. And I mean, they're winning games, so there's not much more you can ask for.
The Blazers currently stand in the 9th seed in the Western Conference. And of course, when you go on a stretch like this where you're winning 8 of 10, you start looking. I mean, I've been looking at the standings. Are you looking at the standings, Gliss?
I did it. I did it at work last night. I was watching. It was funny because we had one empty room. We had a no-show patient, and there's TVs in every single room, and so like I had the game on in that room, but then they keep replaying it throughout the night. So I would go in there, and it'd be like the post-game show, and so I was just like taking in all this stuff, kind of like taking it back in a couple times. And, that's when I pulled out my phone and I was like, how far back are they of that 6th seed? And, they're only 4.5 games back. And, that's not that much distance. And who knows what can happen with injuries and, the trade deadline coming up and all that stuff. I mean, they're right within striking distance where you can make a case, especially when you have a legit all-NBA player in Deni. Why not? I mean, why can't they, move up and move out of that play-in? We're good with them just getting the play-in, I think, for this season. But when a team starts clicking like this, it's why not being a little, look forward a little more and see, like, okay, how far can this team actually go? Like, can they move up? And you look at teams like the Lakers that are in some of those spots that have been struggling a little bit, and they have some turmoil. So I think it's fun as a fan to kind of look at things like that and wonder and think like, man, could they move into one of those spots? And they're right within striking distance, so that's a fun thing as well.
Yeah, and that's kind of the elephant in the room, right, is that 6th seed. Of course, everyone's staring at it, and everyone's eyes are on it, and you start to see teams like the Lakers are obviously kind of falling apart, which I don't mind. And then you see the Blazers are playing so well right now. Have quite a big lead over, I think, at least 2.5 games over the 10 seed. I think they're 2.5 games behind the Warriors in the 8 seed, and that 6 seed is just a few games more, like Gliss was saying. It's hard not to think about it. I don't know if I'm willing to be like, I get scared, Gliss. I don't know if I'm willing to put it all in on there, but.
Here's another thing I was thinking about. I don't know. We would have to do some research on this, but look at the Warriors, for example. You say that we're a couple games back at the Warriors. The Blazers have already won that season series. I mean, they won that season series 3-1. But what I was getting at is I don't know that there's another team in the Western Conference that has beat the number of teams that are at the top of this conference. Because I know we're one of the only teams to beat Oklahoma City. We've beaten San Antonio. We've beaten Houston. I mean, it's like if you look at the teams that are ahead of them, like not only have they competed, but they've like legitimately, put up some solid quality wins to show that they're a team that can compete with some of the, those teams near the top of the Western Conference.
Yeah, I mean, just watching them, there's not a team in the NBA where I would say that they, don't have a chance against, which is like just thinking about that before the season, like that would be one of the goals. Like of course, you want the Blazers to be in every single game, and the way that they're playing, they absolutely are. And I think you're right, Gliss. Like they have a solid resume compared to other teams in the West. And like you said, we'll get our research team on this one, but I don't know. Like I mean, who has a better resume? I mean, I have to envision that the way this Blazers team drives and attacks the rim, and yeah, maybe they don't have the best shooters, so that's something to think about. But a lot of NBA teams probably would not be very excited about playing this team, whether it's in the play-in or in a playoff series. I mean, because they know that it's going to be kind of, very intense the way the Blazers are built and the way they attack the rim and the way they defend. Yeah, and like you said, that resume shows kind of how they play. Like they can play with the top team, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of happens as the season goes on. And something we haven't even touched on, Gliss, strength of schedule remaining. The Blazers have one of the easiest in the NBA, and we've seen the benefits of that in the year 2026 so far, right? Like 8-2 in this month, and a lot of that is because they've been playing well, but they've also been, we've gone to the opposite side of the schedule from 2025 when it was quite a bit more difficult. So that's another thing to think about when you're looking at a team that's going to be rising in the standings. Now, Golden State obviously has been involved in a lot of trade rumors, which we've talked about on the show. So who knows if they're going to get some reinforcements coming in and what they're going to look like. But they have two aging stars on their team, so you can never take anything for granted in this league. So I don't know, Gliss. I don't know if you had to make a call, could you make one of where they would be in the standings once the season ends? What would you say?
I mean, I'd still say the most realistic thing is for them to. I still stick with kind of the goal of getting to that play-in tournament, but I don't see that there's going to be a lot of teams fighting for that 5-6 spot, and there's it's a deep conference, so I mean it's up for grabs. There's a lot of good teams, and your point about strength of schedule is kind of what I was getting at as well. Is like I'm pretty sure we're already maxed out against the Warriors, against Oklahoma City. We've played Dallas at least, I think, twice, maybe once.
At least twice. Yeah.
Houston, I think Houston we've played twice.
We've played Houston 3 times.
The Lakers we've played 3 times, I believe. So, I mean, you look at those teams that are in front of them, they've already played a lot of those teams, and they've done pretty well. Like, they've gotten wins against pretty much all of them. The only one that jumps out, I think we played Minnesota one time that first game of the season. Which obviously
and Denver.
Is, in Denver, Denver, and they did get the one win against Denver. But yeah, I mean, you look at like those top 6 teams in the Western Conference as they stand right now. I don't see a reason why you as a Blazer fan you can't be excited and optimistic. Adjust your expectations, like you said. 22 wins. We're halfway through the season. I mean. They're only, 12, 13 games off or something like that. My math is really bad because I've been up all night. But
we'll get our mathematicians on it, Gliss.
That and the research team, we'll have them work on all that stuff later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think we're both making the same point. It's not unreasonable to think that they could move up in this playoff picture the way that they're playing right now, and given the schedule that they've already had to go through.
And not necessarily to play devil's advocate, but to look below the standings, kind of at the bottom, there are teams that are rising, like the Clippers, who have been playing a lot better as of late. So you got to look at that too. So there is opportunity for teams that are coming as well. But the way the Blazers are playing, it's like I don't know. It could be last words, but I'm not super concerned about that. But I think the Clippers are definitely they can't play to lose right now, so they have to win. But they're also probably going to be involved in the trade deadline. I guess we'll kind of see what happens with them. But yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. Minnesota, the Blazers still have to play. Denver, the Blazers still have to play. But other than that, it's like, oh yeah, you're right. You look ahead and it's like, wow, kind of all these series are finished. And what's important with that is then you're looking at tiebreakers as well. So you can't only look at the standings as a 2.5 games. Well, technically, and we're not there yet. It's only January, so we can't speak like this yet. But you don't even have to necessarily beat them in the race to finish 82 games and where you are in the standings. You just have to tie them in certain situations because the Blazers will have those tiebreakers as well. Another thing, Gliss, that I wanted to touch on, and we've talked about this, is the G League problem the Blazers have with two-way players. CD Sissoko and Caleb Love are getting very close to 50 games. I think they're both around 35, even I think CD's a little bit more has played. And the Blazers have to make a decision on their contracts because if they play more than 50, then they can no longer be on two-way contracts. They have to be signed to NBA contracts. There's a couple different things the Blazers could do, right? They make a trade. They get like a 2-for-1. They, give away a couple players for one player, and then they have room on the roster, and then they can sign one of them. You'd have to do that. You'd have to do that, and then release someone, or the Blazers just release two players. So we could speculate on trades all you want, Gliss, but I think the more realistic thing now, if we look at the roster, do you release Chris Murray and Ryan Rupert to keep CD Sissoko and Caleb Love? If there's no trades made, would you do that?
Oh man, that's a tough question. I still like Chris Murray. I like
You're one of the few.
I mean, he's not. That's fine. That's fine. I still like some of the skill set he brings. I think he has a knack for rebounding for a player of his size, his length. He can hit the corner three. But yeah, I mean, what year is he in? Year 3, year 4?
I think at least,
like
yeah.
That.
Yeah.
It seems like he's been here a while. I mean, it seems like he was one of those guys that's been here since they hit the button on the rebuild. Yeah, I don't know, man. I do think that at this point in time, I want to say, Caleb Love, the fact that he and CD Sissoko, they probably have more value to this team right now.
I would agree.
And not only, I mean, one of the most glaring needs that, we've talked about and everybody, any Blazer fan knows is that they lack shooting. And so I think that's also probably been a little bit of a, something that hasn't been talked about enough, like his ability to shoot the ball. That's, definitely helped them on this run the last couple weeks because they don't have a lot of guys that can come in and score like that. And kind of, he's kind of a fearless shooter. So his shooting ability, but just his tenacity, the way he plays. It's funny because I brought up the other day that the rookie ladder and how they had done a wink about Damian Lillard, just the confidence he plays with. But I was thinking about it. Who he reminds me of a little bit is Wes Matthews, because he like you said, he kind of gets after it on defense too. He's not the most athletic guy out there, but he's tough and he plays with a lot of confidence. So I mean, it's you never feel I feel like something's turned where it's you feel pretty confident in most situations when, whether it's his shot selection, even if it's a bad shot that he misses, it's like you can live with it now because you know the kind of confidence he has, and it's not like something that's concerning. And then CD, man, I mean, he's just done so many things, especially when they've had all these injuries that this team needed. And I think he just is kind of like a heart and soul kind of guy too. In fact, I think both of those guys probably kind of solidify what their image has become as a team a lot more than Chris Murray or Ryan Rupert. So if I had to make that decision, and like if that were my only choice,
you do,
then I'm probably I'm probably keeping Caleb Love and CD Sissoko. I think
you made the
that
right
they
call.
just are the yeah. I think they're just the more valuable pieces right now, and they have more youth on their side also. So I mean, like, it just makes more sense. I don't necessarily want to let both of those guys go, but I don't know what's holding me back, because realistically they have been kind of like end of the bench guys who have had to play significant minutes at time and have made contributions. But I think that's not necessarily like the players that they are long term.
Well, you're a Blazers fan, Gliss, and part of being a Blazers fan means we irrationally overrate players at the end of the bench, which I am guilty of.
Very true.
All Blazers fans are guilty of. I love Chris Murray and Ryan Rupert. Have they made the levels of growth that I would have expected in this time? Absolutely not. Caleb Love and CD Sissoko have legitimately started NBA games and have been effective as NBA players, and have both had big moments for this team. And CD Sissoko has moments that don't show up on any stat sheet, but are just incredible. Just chasing guys. Like, I think he had a moment in the Kings game. He chased someone, I can't remember who it was, from behind, and just whacked the ball right out of his hands. There's no stat. Like, that is Kings ball out of bounds. He doesn't get a steal. He doesn't get anything, but he saved 2 points. I mean, it was such a huge play from him. And it's just like things like that is like, and yeah, Ryan Rupert had a great game against Atlanta, and it's like, oh, this is the guy that we wanted, but it's like it just hasn't been there. So I think, do the Blazers make a trade and then kind of keep those guys? Maybe, but ultimately, I think the decision is kind of easy. I think you definitely cut those two and keep Caleb Love and CD Sissoko. I mean, once Scoot Henderson comes back, which we still haven't heard, we don't know what's happening with that, but it's like there's no guard depth. So to cut Caleb Love is like I don't think that's a decision that you can make. And CD Sissoko, so they're both so young. It's just to me it's very obvious you keep both of those two. And get rid of 2 wings who can't shoot. We don't need any more wings that can't shoot. So I mean that's the call for me. But it's difficult. It's not easy.
You're being so reasonable.
Thank you.
You're being so reasonable as a Blazer. You're right. Thank you for reminding me that. I was thinking, why haven't they signed Martell Webster or Travis Outlaw back onto the team? Because I still love those guys.
I bet Martell can still shoot.
He probably
awesome.
can, yeah. He probably hit a corner 3.
All right, Gliss, anything else to add before we hop off here?
No, just loving the way that they're playing right now. It's been fun, and I foresee it. I think this is going to keep going. I think this is like they've kind of established their identity, and a lot of that obviously revolves around Deni because he's a pretty damn good basketball player. But I'm just excited to see what the ceiling is for this team. I think it's okay to, as a Blazer fan, adjust your expectations and be like, look, this is the team that they are right now. They're 22-22. And, they're in they've solidified themselves for now, at least, as in the mix for, the playoff hunt. And there's no reason to think that they can't make some more noise moving forward. So I'm just having a good time. This has been so fun so far.
It's a long break till the next Blazers game, too. Not till Thursday. So, Gliss, we get to enjoy our evenings and do something else besides watch Blazers. Yeah, it's a back-to-back, yeah. It's with the Heat on Thursday, and then I'm blanking on the Friday game. So, but it'll be interesting to watch them play the Heat. Of course, they lost to the Heat.
Oh yeah, that's the first one.
Yeah, that's the first one. So Thursday, Friday, back-to-back games for the Blazers. They get a rare 3 days off between games, so excited for them to get some rest. And it's good that they got to rest Jrue Holiday and Jeremy Grant and Rob Williams last night, so they get a longer rest before the Blazers get back on the court. This has been the Wake Up RipCity podcast. Please subscribe, like this video, throw us a comment, let us know how we're doing, let us know your thoughts about Blazers basketball, let us know if we're right about CD Sissoko and Caleb Love, and let us know how you're feeling about the season now that the Blazers are 500, which I think both Gliss and I would have taken at the beginning of the year. If you told me the Blazers were 22-22 through 44 games, I would have said, hell yeah. All right, this has been Wake Up RipCity. We'll see you next time.